Good evening, folks. Welcome to evening number 2 of the Starcraft Showdown here on TGBF. This is Shedder here, and alongside me, I've got my intrepid co-host, Mr. Andy Zoom. What's going on, pal?
Oh, hello, Shedder, my man, my main mayonnaise. You know, I'm really excited for the heat to get kicked up tonight. I'm ready to see someone get burned, someone get extinguished. I'd like to, turn up the temperature in here. I'm trying to think of any more torch puns that I can use. Yeah. Anyway, no, it's a very exciting night. Of course, the same 4 players that we've had last night. Going to be shaking it up a little bit, round robin style. So interesting strategies we saw last night. So we'll see how they mingle with each other once we've mixed it up here. Of course, we got some awesome prizes on the line here for the Starcraft Showdown hosted by TGBF. Our sponsors would be NVIDIA with the GTX 460 for first place. Woo! And the crowd goes wild. Second and third place is going to be a Patriot Memory 60 gigabyte SSD drive. So that's going to be big time serious mode right there.
Word.
Yeah, so Shedder, why don't you go ahead and explain to us about the format there?
All right, we are playing round robin here for 3 evenings, and we're in the middle of it right now. Got the current standings up on the screen. Sickness in the pole position. He took all 3 rounds against Jaeger last night, and so is leading the way. And we're going to see if Jaeger can climb his way out of the basement here this evening against Nadagast, who, quite frankly, looked pretty beefy last night. But we'll get to that in a moment. Yeah, so round robin, we're playing 3 rounds each all around, and then the final 2, or the top 2, once we get through all the round robin play, we'll be playing a final best of 5 championship match on Thursday night to determine who walks away with that graphics card. But yeah, our matchup tonight is the first matchup of the evening is Jaeger and Nadagast, and let's talk about Nadagast's minute. A really strong showing against Torch last night.
Yeah, I mean, he's a very strong player. Torch was, trying some. Torch has an interesting opening that he claims is just as effective, if not more effective, than other openings, but it just doesn't seem that way. And so, Nadagast was able to just hold him. He took the second game with a really nice timing push that basically caught Torch's dual port off guard, and the first game was just straight up roll. So. Third, Torch was actually able to come in with an all-in, with an SCV all-in that Nada was just not ready for. So as far as straight play goes, Nadagast is definitely looking really solid, and I think, we'll see some pretty standard gooding from him. So I think I just said gooding, by the way.
I think you did as well. And so with that, I think we're going to toss it into our play-by-play announcers for the evening. That's Fish Sticks and Eckstein. What's going on, guys?
Yo.
Hey.
What a night of StarCraft we have for us right here. Obviously, this tournament, quite new on the scene, but we're trying to make a dent in the StarCraft 2 community. Got a whole bunch of other stuff going on tonight as well, but we're here to bring you the coverage of the StarCraft 2 Showdown. A couple of really good players tonight. As you probably all know, if you're tuning in, these are all ex-TF2 players. Actually, Nadagast was also a pro in World of Warcraft.
Yeah, he's an arena warlock pro. But today he's going to be taking the reins of Terran versus Jaeger's Protoss. Xel'Naga Caverns is the first map, and the countdown has just started. The second and third maps are going to be up in the air between Shakuras Plateau or Metalopolis. Now, Jaeger kind of started off yesterday's games with some unusual craziness. We'll see if today he favors his usual 4-gate approach.
We saw Jaeger go up against a Zerg player, so he might have a slightly different approach against a Terran. I think 4-gate, especially on the map Xel'Naga Caverns, is very effective. Your natural is somewhat hard to defend, not the hardest out of all the maps, but definitely not easy to defend that natural. So it favors early aggression, and 4-gate is something I've personally come up across against quite a bit on the ladders, me being a Terran player against many Protoss on this very map. Just about to get into game here.
Yeah, just waiting for somebody to finish up. Terran versus Protoss. is definitely an interesting matchup. What would you say, are the units that each player are going to be looking to utilize to take them to victory?
Well, I mean, it really depends. You see a lot of Storm play if it gets into the later game. Protoss will often opt for Storms. This map is pretty wide open in the center area, but it does have kind of narrower corridors coming through. Obviously, the cavern is this cavernous, gaping hole right in the middle of the Xel'Naga towers. So it's somewhat wide open, but also there are a few choke points that you can utilize. So storms do come in handy at that point.
Yeah, we saw a lot of siege tanks from Nadagast on this map. I mean, I think siege tank bio is how he won his games yesterday against Torch, but particularly on this map, he went really heavy with the siege tanks and just rolled in, which is a great strategy. Jaeger's sending his probe pretty early so that he can get a good view of what Nadagast is going to roll out.
Jaeger chrono boosting out a couple extra probes right now. No barracks yet for Nadagast. Looks like there's going to be a little worker duel at the ramp of Nadagast. Nadagast is going to easily win, bringing up an extra SCV to do the defense. And there's a 13 racks, a little bit late, but then again, we don't even see a gateway for our Protoss player yet.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if he. There's the gateway. Yeah, a little bit late, but he saw that he got the delay on the barracks, bought himself a little bit of extra time. And checking for a proxy pylon is Nadagast as a SCV. And just the tense standoff as this game just waits to unfold.
So that probe by Jaeger is actually doing a pretty effective amount of harassing. He hasn't actually really accomplished much with it, but he's just being as annoying as possible, which is very, very important in the early game. Throw your opponent off in whatever manner you possibly can. So the force
coming back
is about to warp in here. And that probe is finally going to have to make his exit as the first Marine is coming into play.
And Nadagast, his scout is very late, so he's going to come in here, see the cyber core and the one gas, which is fairly telling, but also, most Protoss openings, they kind of flower after this. It's where do you go? Do you go with more gateways? Do you go with the starport, Stargate, excuse me, or the robo facility play? So lower pylon, maybe he'll hide some tech down there later. Just seeing that pylon there is a good indicator for Nadagast where he should scan later in this game.
Both players sitting at a relatively high APM, but nothing too crazy at this point. It looks like a Stalker is being chrono boosted out of that gateway. It's very important to get that early Stalker out so you can deny any scouting. The Zealots are slower than workers, so you can micro around the Zealot in the early game to get as much intel as you possibly can. Looks like the second barracks is now building a reactor for our Terran player, and Nadagast now has a Reaper on the field. So Reapers are very effective on this map because you can jump on the high grounds near these Xel'Naga towers, exactly like he's doing right now. This Zealot is done for. There's no possible way he can...
The Stalker's coming in there, though.
Ooh, a little bit of missed micro there by Nadagast, actually.
Oh. Yeah, just barely surviving with that Reaper. Gonna have to run away, and he'll be able to get the flank in and maybe get an extra later scout on it. But Jaeger going the Stalker route, he's even gonna stop this other SCV from going up, getting a scout of what he's up to. Still working on that warp gate technology. In the meantime, just saving resources. Yeah, there he goes. Throws down the Nexus, but he's still pretty fat on cash. 3 more gates going down, so it is gonna be a 4-gate play. Nadagast with just a small force right now, but working on more Marauders and more Marines. Has stim pack research going down, already got the slow concussion grenades for the Marauder, and working on a command center expansion. So if this 4-gate pressure is applied at the right time, this could turn out very well for Jaeger.
Indeed it could. Both players are expanding right now, so you're not going to see too much aggression from either of them, at least in the early points of this game. They both do have decent production capacity with our Terran player with both a tech lab and reactor, and working on his third barracks. So mainly gateway units and barracks units A low tier tech is, like I said, is often favored on this map. It's a little bit more mobile than maybe a mech. And actually, it looks like Nadagast is going to try to see what kind of damage he can do with this little force of Marines and Marauders. He got concussive shells really, really early, and I think once Stim Pack technology is finished, he's going to try to push in. And I think he could actually do a serious amount of damage. The Reaper getting around and seeing how saturated Jaeger is at his natural expansion, that's pretty good intel. And Nadagast decides to back off.
Still no factory up yet, which is interesting, throwing down another barracks with another tech lab. So maybe instead of that factory siege tank build that we saw last night against Torch, instead he's going to go with the Marauder build, which is very powerful against the Protoss.
So the SCVs are transferring over to Nadagast's natural. And, you know, Jaeger doing a pretty smart thing, walling off his back entrance where these dead reeds or alien plants or whatever the hell they are sitting.
Yeah, definitely watch any back flank approach. Nadagast has the factory going down, over halfway completed. Looks like Jaeger's going to try and get a probe in behind just to see what's going on with the expansion. Just a little scout.
You know, this map, it does have those back corridors, so it does actually lend itself to proxy play from time to time. I like that Jaeger is just taking his probe around all the outskirts of the map.
Oh, spotted this Marauder, stemmed over. Great control by Nadagast there. Just picked off one Marauder and stemmed him up and sent him going for that probe. Of course, now that he's killed the probe, he's still running around like a madman out in the wilderness by himself. I gotta complete these waypoints.
Yeah, now the starport is about to finish, and so is the reactor on Nadagast's factory. He's going to swap over the starport in just a second. I think we're going to see medevacs.
Yeah, and another Reaper going in from Nadagast, about to scout from the backside of Jaeger's base. And Jaeger's got the Twilight Council going down, which is kind of in the back left of his main base. It'll be interesting to see if the Reaper gets out that far. But it's certainly going to get some good intel here. And also the ground armor level 1 upgrades being researched as well.
The Twilight Council, that could either mean quick blink or quick leg speed. Leg speed, I believe, is the right choice. There are a lot of Marauders in Nadagast's army, and Zealots with leg speed are almost the hard counter to Marauders with
yeah, and he actually got a second forge, so he's going to be powering out the level 1 ground weapons upgrade at the same time as he's finishing up that armor. So he's really set on this gateway push, and you know, it'll be interesting to see what happens as soon as that ground attack finishes. And Nadagast is using his factory on the left-hand side to do a little bit of scouting right now, just looking to see if he has taken this third expansion by destroying the rocks. Instead, he's going to be going for the gold expansion and attacking the rocks there. It's quite a sizable army from Jaeger. Although we do have a good bio ball from Nadagast, it's just getting bigger all the time, and he has 3 medevacs protecting it.
Those medevacs probably are the biggest determinant in the difference between these two armies right now. They really can do a lot of help, especially if you micro well and you exit battles that you might lose. Those medevacs can help replenish your forces.
An important battle here in the center now, as Nadagast spotted the gold expansion, duking it out. Good micro from Nadagast. Just a little bit of a stem to fall back, and putting good pressure on Jaeger here, who has not dropped the third expansion on this gold yet, and instead going for a robo facility. And we'll see if we get the robotics bay as soon as that's down to go for the Colossus, which would definitely be the counter to this Marauder Marine ball of destruction.
I think he really needs to get those Colossi out. Nadagast does not yet have any Vikings on the field, which do a good job.
Oh, dropping the back of his base. It's like decent harass. The medevac is going to get away. And, you know, a decent exchange of units here. On the resources lost tab, it looks like Jaeger has actually lost 900 resources, more than Nadagast. And Nadagast pushing in at that gold expansion. Going to deal a couple more small blows to Jaeger, taking out a couple pylons and throwing a scan down. Now, once again, we had a slight problem with Jaeger's play last night when he put his robo facility, actually 2 robo facilities, at the base of his ramp in Metalopolis, which ended up getting destroyed. And, it was kind of towards the end of the game. But once again, he's chosen to put his robo facility up towards the front. Just got an observer with it right now and does not have the robotics bay down in order to actually get a Colossus. So it actually just started to train another observer. But look at this. On the right-hand side of the map, we got another medevac with 2 Marauders and 4 Marines. At the meantime, where there's the drop's getting in position while Nadagast still doing a good job of pushing Jaeger's army back. Drop's going down at the same time as this battle in the middle. It's a pretty crucial battle. He's using good force field to minimize the number of troops he's got to fight, but his Zealots is just getting eaten up. Stock is doing a good job surviving. Oh, that second medevac is barely getting away. These troops are pretty lit up, and he is out of energy. He's going to have to fall back for the time being. But, man, that drop in the back has done destruction. I think that was pretty much just a blind drop. He just set him back there and didn't even follow him. Wow, and he still got a full load. So that was really devastation in the back of Jaeger's base.
Now Jaeger has a huge deficit to make up. He's down so much food right now, and he's also down in worker count. I think it's just a matter of time before Nadagast capitalizes on his massive lead right now. He will be able to get up an expansion. He is already moving to the gold position, and I think Jaeger has to make something happen right now. He does have 3 High Templar out on the field. Those can do some deadly storms, especially if he gets 1 or 2 more. The storm numbers, if you have a critical mass, you can really just annihilate bioballs such as what Nadagast has. But I think Nadagast is such a good player that he will be able to split his units up and avoid the brunt of the damage of those storms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he's seen, too, with this floating factory that's still back there and still just kind of getting solid intel for Nadagast. He's seen that Jaeger is not taking a 3rd expansion. So he's very comfortable to just hold on with his bio ball and make Jaeger make a play. And Jaeger now, he's going to throw down his 3rd expansion at this gold. He's going for it again. He's also getting the Kaidarian amulet upgrade, which helps the starting energy on these High Templars. And it's going to just help him, with all those gateways, bring in storms a whole lot quicker. He's got his observer right by this army, so he's going to see very clearly what's going on. And Ghost coming out, no nukes built, and they do not have cloak either. But looking to use this snipe and EMP, wow, taking out all those shields and the energy.
Man, those are the ballsiest ghosts I've ever seen. When I try to bring ghosts up, I always bring a few other units with me. But
wow,
those ghosts are just saying, fuck it, let's go.
Yeah, no storm either.
Yeah, no storm because of those great EMPs. The Zealots with leg speed move in to tank a lot of damage here. In come the High Templar. Do they have energy?
Oh, yes, did some storms. 3 storms going down 4th. Wow, Nadagast is 4 up right now.
Archon's warping, but not in time. Where are the stalkers? Not enough stalkers. So many medevacs healing all of these units. The medevacs are almost healing the units as quick as they're getting damaged by those storms. I think the small force of Marauders is going to be enough to clean up.
Wow, just barely surviving. Now he knows it's time to turn it on while the army's gone. Taking out pylons. Only the robo facility is powered. We're going to see GG here pretty soon. There's no way. Yeah, he's building 4 more gateways. 5 more. But, that's just not going to be able to give him the troops he needs. He doesn't have the workers. And Nadagast just barely edging out that fight. That was an extremely close fight. But all of this pressure, just keeping Jaeger down on 2 bases for this long, I think has also, hurt his production significantly. Jaeger has quite an amount of resources, though.
Yeah, yesterday I definitely tried to emphasize this point that strategy matters, but what matters more is fundamentals. And Jaeger has not been macroing properly. He had a ton of minerals for a lot of the match, and 54 food to 200 does not bode so well.
Yeah. Basically, he's just getting healed up, letting his medevacs get a little bit more extra energy, and just getting ready to go again. He's got the armory out. I wonder if those ghosts were just strictly used for those EMPs. No nukes being built yet. He has quite the bio ball. Jaeger's rebuilt his army a decent amount, but it's all Zealots and 2 High Templars, 1 Archon. Gonna have to get great storms here. Oh, but he is doing work. Down in the red are these Marauders. That EMP, though, was perfectly timed. Took out the energy of the High Templars. Switching the second one over to an Archon. He's getting some major kills here.
Yeah. Wow, I'm actually really, really impressed with what Jaeger was able to put together right there. Because if you look at his units, they have +2 attack and +3 armor.
Wow.
While Nadagast's units only have +1 attack. That's the only upgrade they have. So even though Nadagast is going to win this game, without a doubt, I'm sorry.
Nadagast going for a drop here, working with these Banshees on the right-hand side. Only got a couple units down, but that's enough to deal a ton of damage to those Stalkers. Jaeger only has a small group of Harvesters, you know, really compared to the count of Nadagast, 82 to 26, and he's just going through and picking off these gateways. You know, he's not even hurting the ones that can produce units, but he's only got 5 gateways up that can produce units. You know, he did a valiant effort hanging in this game, but this is just way too much. More storms going down. Yeah, it's finally GGing, and that's game 1.
Oh man, I just love the combo of Storms and Zealot with leg speeds. Actually, I hate it. It's my worst nightmare as a Terran player myself. But it was actually shocking how small Jaeger's last force there was, and how much damage he was actually able to do in the end.
Yeah, definitely. Andy, what were your thoughts on spectating that match?
Oh man, that was an awesome match. I've seen that Ghost build quite a bit in TVP, where usually it's a little bit sooner though. You know, you get the Ghost Academy out after your 2nd or 3rd barracks, and then you just pump 3 barracks units until you're about the 10-12 minute mark, and then you timing push with those 2 Ghosts. So you can EMP any sentries trying to block ramps. You can EMP all the shields, of course, and it's extremely powerful. He hit those 2 right in the center of Jaeger's army, and that was obviously why that battle went the way that it did. I think that if he had those storms available for that battle, or more storms than he did, and then the sentries as well, he would have, you know, probably been out on top, especially since he had superior upgrades. I mean, toss with upgrades is super dangerous. So, I mean, it may have looked like Jaeger was playing a little slower, but he did have the correct army. It just wasn't able to deal with it. You know what I would have liked to see is a feedback on both of those Ghosts when they walk up. If he had seen them, because he had his observer out there, if he had seen those Ghosts, just feedback them both right before they could EMP. So feedback range is greater than the EMP range. But, you know, not everyone has Jaeger micro, so don't blame him. It's still a really cool game to watch, and interesting battle there at the end where all those storms completely decimated that bio ball. So...
Yeah, definitely. Very strong play from Nadagast, and you know, just sticking with his one choice of units. I mean, we really didn't see anything else until he got a couple Banshees out later, but really just able to contain Jaeger and get that 3rd expansion, get the gold coming in, and just continual harass. Now, we're still waiting to find out what the second map is going to be. Jaeger's just watching a replay of that game, and I guess just checking a couple things out real quick before we get the second map created. Now, Fish, were you a little disappointed that we didn't see any Colossi in that map? Do you think that could have swung things for Jaeger, or you know, do you agree that the High Templar technology choice was correct?
I think High Templar was the right choice. You know, the thing about Colossi is they are very powerful once you have them, and once you have the Thermal Lance upgrade, but they're very risky to get because they cost so much money and resources. So I don't think that really getting Colossi would have changed the shape of the game, simply because he was already Jaeger was already behind because of those early drops, and I just don't think it would have worked out unless he tailored his build from the beginning to go for that.
Yeah, definitely.
So, it's like some Skype problems.
Yeah, Andy's just temporarily getting booted into the call, but he'll be coming back. So Michael Marson, Mr. Jaeger, just announcing the second map to me. It's going to be Metalopolis. and that leaves Shakuris Plateau for our third map. Now this is a best of 3 series. Just a reminder to our spectators, it is kind of a best of 3 series, but we're doing the round robin style. So these players are playing 3 maps no matter what happens. So we are seeing Metalopolis next, but we are going to see Shakuris Plateau, and then after that we are just going to go straight into Sickness versus Torch. We're going to have to wrangle those players together. So we might take a brief break before the second series of matches, but nothing more than just a brief game before we get started with the next.
All right. Metalopolis is the map. Map 2. Jaeger so far is 0-4 in wins, so he is our last place player at this point. Still plenty of time to win some more matches, but Nadagast is looking real good.
Yeah, definitely. He's been really sharp. We talk about how it's just kind of like the small mechanics that build up to make the difference in the game. And his little small micro decisions have been, helping him out quite a bit. Countdown is finished. We're just waiting for the load time now. Metalopolis. As always on this 4-player map, it is not symmetrical. We could get different spawns, and looks like we have close spawns, with Nadagast now in the light blue on the left-hand side and Jaeger in the red on the top-hand side.
So here we are. Game 2 it is.
Metalopolis, always a very fun matchup. Very well-balanced map.
Indeed. And it's actually potentially even more difficult on this map to defend your natural, as there's really no choke point whatsoever, and they do have to come in a kind of awkward angle, but it's really open in this whole area in the natural. So I'm expecting one base play here.
Players doing a little joking around. Jaeger's referencing yesterday. He said, "Good luck, have fun, GG." Sickness replied, "Good luck, have fun," and Jaeger was giving him crap. No GG. And Nadagast acknowledging that he saw, acknowledging he just liked the build that he did last game.
Yes, indeed. A little bit of trash talking followed up by a little bit of a good manner.
Yeah, all the players are great personalities and very good manner toward each other. I think after we signed off yesterday with Nadagast and Torch, we talked about Starcraft for about another 30 minutes before the second game came on.
Oh.
Nadagast is SCV getting down to 10 health points there on that barracks, and Jaeger's just going to steal a couple minerals. Take out.
Yeah, and Nadagast mentions that the Zealot with leg speed and High Templar combo.
Oh, he's going after that probe again. Oh, the SCV got him.
Down.
Stop the build.
Oh, that's got to mess with your head, Nadagast. What are you going to think about that? Down.
Yeah, all the while.
Already.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely agree. The High Templar and Zealot with leg speed combo is really beastly. I haven't quite found a good counter for it yet if I am going mainly bio, which many Terrans do, especially on close positions. I think we're going to see bio from our Terran player. Yes, the second barracks is down. No tech lab yet. Will we see another tech lab? Or will we see a Marine? Yes, there's the tech lab. So, second barracks in progress.
Alrighty. So certainly still early in this game, a little too early to see if he's just going to keep on with the bio ball. A little bit shorter distances maybe, this map compared to the last.
Oh, yeah.
Fairly close though.
So again, boosting out that stalker. Get rid
and
of
the
that
warp gate
setting
technology too. Once again, Jaeger just kind of stockpiling some minerals, not grinding out the probes too hard right now. He's taking out his opponent's SCV, and now is going to be the time to make another move. Whether he's still just going to save up minerals and then throw down Fort Gate right away.
So
another Reaper coming up.
Opted to wall off here. I think that's because he gets the tech lab and the reactor so early. It doesn't allow you to get out early Marines, but it gears up much better for the later game.
Wow.
Worried about some early pressure.
Very interesting stuff from Jaeger here. If we take a peek over at the 3 o'clock base, you'll see that Jaeger has thrown up a pylon behind the smoke screen and thrown up 2 gateways back there and a third. So that's a pretty interesting position to hide your warp gate technology. And as long as that Reaper doesn't come in or see the probe coming from that area, it's going to be remain unscouted for quite a while. He's got to think something's up, though, and know that there's some sort of crazy proxy. And actually, with these units coming from that other direction, that might throw him off a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, getting inside the base. Oh, I think he gets vision of that probe. So, maybe that means the gig is up. It'll be interesting to see if he does eventually scout that.
So,
his Reaper is going to look around, and he is waypointed towards that right base. So it's just a question of whether you'll actually get vision of it.
So the 3 gateways in the corner have become warp gates, and we're going to see a big push right here. No chrono boost, actually, on the Nexus, but Jaeger has stockpiled almost 1,000 minerals, so he's going to be able to pump out a ton of units right now. And there is the Reaper. It sees what's going on. It's going to be able to take out this pylon.
Yeah, only 1 unit being able to be warped in here. It's a Stalker, though. He's going to be able to take out that Reaper. So, it does say safe for now, but, that's really vulnerable. If he gets a couple Banshees, runs them over there. Of course, he is building his expansion. Right now, he maybe would have wanted to have a little bit more units. He knows the pressure's on, though. The Stalkers are coming in. He's got his first bunker filled up. Had the SCV tucked away in there for a second. And he's got a second bunker ready to go. So,
So again, I'm gonna be that asshole, and I'm gonna point out that Jaeger is just not macroing in the best possible fashion. After getting out 4 warp gates, which seems extremely cheesy, all in push like, he decides to go for an expansion at his natural. So a little bit decisions there. I'm not sure I totally agree with what he's doing. However, it did force Nadagast to build 2 bunkers, and he's extremely worried about pressure right now. So I guess in that sense, he was able to confuse his opponent. I just don't know if it was the right play.
Yeah, definitely. You can't do 2 things at once. You can't expand and attack. And Nadagast just threw down a scan on the expansion. So he sees that. That's going to make him feel a little bit more comfortable. He knows that his opponent can't just totally keep grinding away and sending in units. He's still got to get that second expansion up before it really pays off for himself and helps him produce units. Oh, he's going to push down his ramp with this. At least try to do some kiting while Jaeger's not paying attention. The stim goes down. One Marauder very low on health. Good force field, only blocking some of Nadagast units from getting involved. Now warping in the reinforcements. This army from Nadagast is going to go down. Pushing out here may have been the wrong decision, but it is forcing Jaeger into going for this approach, going for this strategy.
Man, the leg speed really would have come in handy there, because those Zealots actually did about no damage. They do tank shots, but you got to be a little bit more effective with those Zealots to make them worthwhile. So I'd say that Nadagast was the vast victor of that last situation, and now he's going to be promoting his second orbital command into the natural expansion.
Yeah, and he's getting a starport in the meantime and a reactor on its factory. We'll be interested to see if he goes through a little Hellion harass, or if he's just going to swap it with a starport. That way he'll get the faster double medevac.
And here comes the swap.
Yep, looks like it.
Well, checking out upgrades, still no. I generally, as a Terran player, I like to get at my engineering bay early on. I like the +1 upgrades. It's so important, especially when you're kiting so many Zealots. But no engineering bay yet for Nadagast. Over on the other side, still no upgrades there either. So no forge for Jaeger.
Double forge.
Where's that going down? Oh, there it is. I see.
Double forge, huh?
I've got forges in progress. He's going to try to chrono boost out some upgrades, maybe go for a timing attack, which actually, might work. Jaeger powered up with all these different, gateways was able to get the expansion up early somehow for some reason, and if he can chrono boost out some upgrades really quickly, he might be in a good position. But that's going to be a really delicate timing. I think Nadagast realizes that he's going to try to go for a drop and maybe harass. We'll see.
Yeah, I think that's a smart decision, and just use destroys the observer. Now cannon's going down for Jaeger. As we've seen in the other games from yesterday, Jaeger versus Sickness, cannons, they're decent defense, but they don't necessarily always win you games. Picking up tricks like that wins you games, but Nadagast pushing in. The Immortal's going to be key here. Going okay for Jaeger right now. One cannon getting up, but just out of range to be able to assist. Oh, gets the medevac down. We'll see if he counter pushes here, but it looks like there's a strong force from Nadagast. And actually it looks like he's got a dropship going over to take out those 3 gates. And that's the danger with that. I mean, he's got some cheese play there, and went for it, but it's going to suck when he loses those,
Yeah. Man, especially because +1/+1 is about to be out on the field.
Oh, Jaeger spotted it, though. He's sending some stalkers over. And looks like he's going to be able to get this medevac down before too many units get put out. Just the Marauders. And 2 Marauders versus 4 stalkers, taking out 1. And we'll see if he spots this factory.
And Jaeger might be able to get on the board here. A couple medevacs have gone down full of units. That's a huge detriment to Nadagast's army, and now that +1/+1 finally out, I feel like Jaeger has a timing to make a push right here.
Nadagast likes his odds with 6 barracks as well, though. A pretty good bio ball, but definitely Jaeger has a strong force. He just has the level 1 upgrades done right now for his troops. No blink or zealot legs. The zealot is not able to get in there. Focusing down at Immortal and trapping him with those Marauders. Now engaging the cannon, taking that down super quick. Those stim units, super powerful. His medevac is out of energy though. And Jaeger actually could have pushed onto that with his troops. Nadagast sending another force to go after those warp gates in the corner. Takes up the probe that's on the Xel'Naga tower. And he's definitely going to make Jaeger spawn some more units back at his warp gate just to protect it. It's either that or just, lose them intentionally without worrying about them. But you're going to have to rebuild 450 minerals worth of production units, production buildings. Again, these Zealots outcharge legs.
Really hard. He got +1 weapons upgrades, and you can see just how much faster he's able to take down this Protoss force with those +1 upgrades. Zealots coming in the nick of time. That might hold off this force for just a little bit longer, but that's so many Marauders. Jaeger had a timing, I feel like, at one point in this game, but that time comes to an end. Nadagast pushing in, those medevacs doing a key amount of healing. Almost all of those units were very nearly dead. Now they're about half health. Looks like Jaeger's going to be pulling out all of his probes. Will he go for an attack? No.
Yeah, Nadagast, his reinforcements, he's already got another sizable army to push in with. And in the meantime, he's used these units on the 3 o'clock base and has taken down those extra 3 warp gates. The Dark Shrine going up. So if that gets out in time, we'll see some Dark Templars, which will be a good distraction. Nadagast has a sneaky 3rd going down at the bottom, but Jaeger does see it with the probe. But it's just kind of a question of whether he's actually ever going to get units down there to be able to attack it. Because Nadagast is pushing in, and he's going to do a ton of damage to this expansion. I mean, Jaeger is getting close to mined out in his main, so if Nadagast can control him out here, that's going to be GG. There's going to be nothing he can do about it. Yeah, this Nexus going down. He's getting level 2 upgrades, Jaeger is, in 7 High Templars, but he doesn't even have Storm yet, so forming him into Archons is going to be his only hope here.
If I were Jaeger right now, I'd say, man, I just lost my expansion. I'm about to run out of minerals. Time for probe genocide. Time for one last all-in push. I hope he does that. I hope we can see that as soon as these +1/+1 are done. Here comes the battle. One of the Archons getting taken out. That's huge. There's so...
Oh, it dropped two medevacs worth of units dropping in behind. He should be able to kite these Archons if he micros well. Now he's falling back. Lost a couple Marauders, but I mean, he's still up in his base, and now his main force is moving in from behind. He can probably take down both of these forges before the level 2 upgrades get finished. He's mined out in his base. Only a matter of seconds before we see GG here.
All right. Forgot about that.
There we go.
Charge for you, Jaeger. No charge for you.
Another fantastic game there by Nadagast. Just keeping up the pressure with his bio ball, and Jaeger, good strong play, and putting the pressure on, but then just not able to finish it, expanding at the same time, afraid to go for an all-in play, and just not quite having enough at the end. Andy, what were your thoughts on that second match?
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Exton. I think if he had, if he had taken that early 4-gate, that sneaky 4-gate, and just built, another set of stalkers or zealots, he could have ran right up the ramp and used the force field to block the SCVs from repairing those bunkers, and it would have significantly hampered the Terran player. Nadagast, and at the very end there, he was floating almost 1,500 gas, so maybe with his play, he should have gone for a little bit earlier tech, because he was basically stuck with that gateway unit army, and at first, that Immortal was doing so much damage and was the reason why I was holding off the Barracks units, but the Punisher grenades just do so much damage into, an unsupported gateway army without using force fields to hold in the Terran army. Those Punisher grenades make it almost impossible for you to micro around with zealots without charge. So, like was said at the very end, charge, GG. So
yeah, and those. Oh, go ahead, Fish.
I'd just like to say thank you to everyone who's tuned in tonight. I know there's a lot of StarCraft content being pumped out in this particular evening, but we definitely like to get a few more viewers in the stream tonight. So if you have any friends that enjoy StarCraft 2 broadcasts, please very kindly poke them and tell them this is going on. I think those matches were top caliber, and we got some more coming on the way. Additionally, we have posted a thread on Reddit about this event. So if you have a Reddit account, please click the link in chat. Make sure to click through and then go back and upload. We really appreciate any extra promotion we can get, and we definitely appreciate every single viewer. So let your friends know. Map 3 coming up next.
Yeah, countdown has started. Also, just on the same note that Fish Sticks was talking about, also don't forget about our videos on demand. They can be seen at the tgbf.tv website. I've also posted them on the xtelevision.com website. And does Gamescast TV have a little archive, Fish?
We have no VOD functionality yet. That's definitely a planned feature. But that's not what's important. What's important is we are on Shakuris Plateau. Nadagast is in the bottom left position as the Terran, Jaeger in the top right. Very, very far positions, as far as they can possibly get on any map in StarCraft 2. Let's see some macro, guys. I want to see some macro.
Yeah, maybe this will be the map that Jaeger decides to tech up to Colossi. Gives him that extra little time he needs to get there, and then just War of the World style, cuts those Marines and Marauders in half with a laser beam. That's what I want to see.
Lasers are cool.
Yeah, totally, man. It's like the power of the sun. Something like that.
I think we're all pretty much rooting for Jaeger to take at least one map. Poor guy is now 0-5 at this point.
Yeah, definitely. I think he's played a little bit stronger tonight. Also, we heard the man coughing up a lung in the pregame. We had it going on, and it didn't sound very healthy. So I don't know if he's quite up to his normal self right now. I believe he's playing in a LAN this coming weekend. So hopefully this is good warm up for him and helps him kick the sickness. Get it? Wagga, 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 wagga.
One of the other players we've got here in this tournament.
Yeah, who's going to be doing his best firefighting imitation today, playing Torch.
See if you can extinguish that. But let's extinguish that joke permanently because it's really old.
It's so much fun.
Yeah, Andy Zoom said it with a straight face the other day, kicking off the broadcast. It was pretty
I don't
awesome.
think anyone actually noticed when he said it, but whatever. It's all for the fun of it. So
Yeah.
let your friends know. Things are going to happen very soon. Torch, obviously, GSL proven. Sickness, we saw him last night doing quite a bit of damage as the Zerg. But that's coming up next. Right now, Shakur's Plateau is the third and final map between Jaeger and Nadagast.
Oh, just getting that probe. I think right before he saw that second barracks, so he did not get vision of that second barracks. A small detail, but important. That did actually kind of lead to a slight misstep. Nadagast, he's supply blocked, but he's getting the supply depot down in time, so just barely slowing him down.
So once again, light clockwork. That Stalker is being chrono boosted out.
And
Nadagast knows it.
Same time as that Reaper as well.
You know, in every game that we've seen so far between these two players, Nadagast has opted for the concussive shells extremely early. I actually really like that play. It essentially negates Zealots in the extremely early game if you get out 1 or 2 Marines and a Marauder.
Nadagast's SCV still lurking around. I'm curious if he decides to build a proxy somewhere, or he's just getting the control of the Xel'Naga Tower so that Reaper can get out and do his thing.
So yesterday we saw Jaeger do proxy cannon rushes in almost every single game. So we're not going to see any of that versus the Terran. Actually, Stalker's out of the position. In comes the Reaper. He's going to see everything that's going on in here. He might even make it out with his life, too. He could even get a probe if he wanted, but missed micro there by Nadagast.
He saw the Dark Shrine.
Yeah, I think he did see the Dark Shrine that Jaeger was throwing on the right-hand side. Very huge. Throwing down the EVA immediately. I'm sure as soon as that is done, we will see some missile turrets, just at his ramp, and obviously, tries to get that detection out there to put a stop to any Dark Templar harass. Great Reaper there, seeing that Dark Shrine.
Yep, there is the missile turret. Although I don't even think that Jaeger is going to be going for the DTs. I think he's going to get leg speed. No. He was getting blink for a millisecond, changed his mind. Leg speed it is. Or excuse me, charge. I guess leg speed. Everyone calls it leg speed, I thought. But it's charge. Whatever. Either way, very good against Marauders.
Yeah, and Nadagast throwing a bunker down at the secondary ramp and building his second command center. So both players expanding at a similar pace. And the double forge again from Jaeger.
In this longer, more macro-oriented map, I think that's the right choice, but it's still risky. I think Nadagast is overestimating how many units his opponent has on the field right now. I think if he knew how Nadagast is actually almost 10 food ahead, just 8 minutes and 10 seconds in weird, wonky game time, expired, and he's already ahead in food by quite a lot.
He's going to be
playing a little bit more defensively than he needs to.
Yeah, Jaeger doesn't have too many units up. Nadagast is also, progressing forward with his tech, getting the Terran infantry weapons level 1 and his starport going down. We actually have the Templar archives going down, which is interesting. It's pretty early for those units, but it could be a very effective play. I mean, just kind of hang back and wait for that first push from Nadagast. Besides that second map, when Jaeger wanted to bust the fort gate on Metalopolis, we really haven't seen much aggression from Jaeger.
Actually, the +1/+1 that Jaeger is getting right now is going to come in handy. The longer this game goes, the more that's going to benefit him. And it looks like actually neither player has even considered starting to move across this gigantic friggin' map.
Yeah. Certainly, if Nadagast does move out with that sneaky pylon that Jaeger has on the left-hand side, he will be able to warp units into the low ground and maybe do a harass if he gets blink later, or just flank right in while Nadagast's army is in the middle of the map. Bringing out a couple more probes. Not entirely sure. Maybe he's just going to park these on the towers.
So now our Terran player actually has built 2 engineering bays as well. Looks like he's going for +1/+1. At the same time, he's getting a starport, and looks like he has a tech lab onto that starport. Not sure what exactly he's considering getting with that tech lab. I believe he will be moving the second starport that he is building onto this reactor to pump out a bunch of medevacs. And he might actually consider start making his push quite soon, as he is moving into the center of the map, getting that positioning, getting that vision, and down goes his poor little lone probe.
Oh. Yeah, and he's got that Raven with him. I mean, he's still afraid of the DTs, and got to wonder if he's just progressing forward under that assumption, and if these High Templars can get out here quick enough, get those Psystorms. They are ready. I think they're going to eat this army up.
Oh man, that's a lot of Zealots with leg speed.
And that's a lot of Psystorm. Wow. Wow, great feedback.
Actually, a ton of those Zealots ate the brunt of that Psystorm, so...
Yeah, took out all their shields.
Look how few Stalkers are in Jaeger's army right now.
Yeah, he's going for the drop, and I think the pylon on the left side of Jaeger's base should have seen that medevac, but no units being warped in, so I don't think Jaeger himself has actually seen this drop until it's coming in right now. There is one cannon in the back, but doing a good job of shifting his medevac over while still getting his units down, healing his Marauder, and dealing the damage. And now Jaeger scrambling back, warping in some Zealots, and the damage done here, though, has been pretty good.
Yeah.
Having to try to kill this medevac with Psystorms.
I think Jaeger just lost 50 probes.
He lost quite a bit.
I think that you need to react a little bit quicker to drops if you want to play at this high level.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, especially too, with his pylon getting vision of it, his pylon saw the medevac. That's the instant that, if you're going to play this at the top level, you have to be totally on top of your mini-map. Anytime you see any hint of your opponent, you have to react instantly. Now, interesting situation here on the left-hand side of this map, where Nadagast is expanding. Jaeger has that pylon over there, and he's seen it, but in the meantime, he's walking right in the middle of the map. His High Templar are so far behind these Zealots. He's getting damage done here, though. These Zealots actually ate up most of that army, and Nadagast having to scramble some forces together. Could be bad for Nadagast.
Come on, Jaeger. Get on the board.
He's got to walk these Zealots in there together. He's actually warped in a couple more. He's going to take out this third expansion.
Well, it's just going to get lifted off in just a second here.
Yeah, he has no units. No anti-air units.
I really wish there were a few Stalkers in this position right now. I think if Nadagast had a really good read on what his opponent was doing right now, he would be building Banshees, maybe even getting Cloak, because there's really nothing to defend from that, except for some photons.
EMP.
Oh, wow.
EMP. How many of those? Let's check some energy statuses.
Yeah, he's got about 4 left with full energy, but I think he only got 1 of them. 2 of them are at like half energy.
Here comes
Storm's coming in. Doing a lot of damage to the Zealots, though. And the Bunker's going down quickly. SCV's coming in here. Storm going down on the SCV. Huge damage.
Look at those SCVs melt. My God, these bunkers don't stand a chance to so many Zealots with leg speed. This
could be Jaeger's moment. Ton of damage. A lot of his Zealots trying to move up the ramp. Reinforcements coming in, though, dealing with these units that are still behind, getting right in the face of the production buildings, and starting to deal some serious damage here. He does have 2 and 2 on his Protoss units in terms of upgrades, weapons, and armor. He's torching this the natural expansion and getting in here and just totally wrecking rampant on the main. 4 harvesters left for Nadagast. Great play here from Jaeger with these early storms and High Templar. Just catching the Terran bio ball. He's got 0 harvesters yet left. He's just going to let Jaeger hammer away at his buildings. GG. Great stuff, Jaeger. Pulling back a game and taking one off of Nadagast.
Jaeger able to get on the board with very unconventional play. In the last match, I think Nadagast said, as in his final words, I think that is the future of P versus T. Lots of zealots with leg speed and storms. I think he didn't really realize at that point that he was predicting his own future, not the future of the metagame, and that's going to spell GG. Really, I've never quite seen a build like that. Only like 3 Stalkers were built during the course of the entire game, and Jaeger's on the board.
Andy Zoom, let's get your thoughts on this before we start talking to the players.
Yeah, that was definitely an interesting game. You don't see that very often, if at all. You don't see the mass zealot charge army with the storm backing it up. I think it would have looked a lot different if that EMP would have hit correctly, because all of the Templar were together in a tight little ball. And so if he had hit the EMP where he wanted to, that would have been seriously bad news. Although I guess he could have just morphed them all into Archons and then moved them in there. A giant zealot charge army with Archons with +2, they do 43 damage at +2. So that's pretty super good, and they do splash damage, so the SCVs would have died just as fast. But like we said, Jaeger's on the board. Grats, brother. We got him a point, and maybe this is just what he needs to turn his life around. Now he's going to get that cough looked at. So
we should have the players in the game in this Skype channel of ours. Let's okay. Alrighty, great. Nadagast, congratulations on taking 2 maps out of the 3. After the second map, you said that your opponent, you said the High Templars and the way you used them with Zealot Charge is the future of PvT, and he put that to use a little bit more in the 3rd game. Can you extrapolate on your thoughts on that a little bit more?
Well, I just think Colossus are so expensive, takes so long to get to them, that it's more reliable to have Templars with Storm. I think they're so much cheaper, you can get more of them, and you don't lose the game. If you lose a Colossus or 2, if they get sniped.
Mm-hmm. Now, you use the Ghost and the EMP to counter that a little bit. I guess did you have that planned in the 3rd game?
Well, no, not really. Ghost is just kind of a standard thing to get against Templar, although I didn't use them very well, and I only made like 1, so that was my fault. But yeah, if I needed more Ghosts, because Storm is really hard to deal with unless you get a couple good EMPs.
Mm-hmm, definitely.
And what would you say to your Terran brothers that are dealing with that mass quantity of zealots? How do you deal with that?
You don't. I don't think the matchup is very balanced right now. I mean, I don't mean to complain about it, but I think Protoss has a pretty big advantage. Hellions would be good to deal with them, but it's really hard to find a time to transition to Blue Flame Hellions and really start getting them in mass. So I don't know. Charge lots you can sort of deal with just stim kiting with Marauders if you I don't know, if you don't not watch your army like I did in the middle.
If you look at the score screen, you two had the almost identical income. Jaeger had 17,587, and Nada, you had 17,525. So that's retardedly close. I don't think I've ever seen a resource count that close before. So I mean, you guys both had the same exact amount of money to work with, and he chose to go that insane zealot build. And I don't think you were looking when he attacked you in the very middle of the map. You didn't have a chance to kite at all. And so your army completely got surrounded by those charge lots, which is essentially what they're good at, right? So I think that's really what lost you the game there. And then, of course, what you said, too, about the Ghost, that would have helped out a lot, I think.
Yeah, I made a Ghost Academy pretty early, but then I only made 1 Ghost. And it wasn't even, I don't know, yeah. It was just too little too late on Ghosts. I needed a lot more Ghosts earlier.
And he also kind of he messed with you mentally, because he actually canceled the Dark Shrine immediately after you scouted it, and he transitioned immediately then. So he had the upper hand because you built the port with the tech lab and got the Raven out because you were scared about it, and so there's definitely some choices that you made that were forced by that tech decision, whereas then he of course canceled it. So
yeah, I didn't respond well to that. I should have responded by just saving a scan or two and doing a timing push like right after the Dark Shrine would be done, because he'd have no units, and
he didn't actually have any units either. So.
Yeah, if you tech to Dark Templar that fast, you really have no units, so it's really easy to kill them as long as you can save like 1 or 2 scans for the Dark Templar. Yeah.
All right, do we have Jaeger in here?
Yep.
Maybe.
How's it going, Jaeger? Why don't you just share your thoughts on the 3-map series as a whole, and then we'll get into the specifics of it.
The first was going okay, except for he did like an amazing job of denying my third. I just couldn't get a third up on that map to save my life, and then that EMP that hit my army in the middle, as like I was fumbling around with my friggin' feedback key, and like misclicked the ghost like 5 times. That was pretty much it. They caught like every sentry I made and like 5 High Templar. So yeah, and then it just went downhill, and I got like a really lucky break when I rebuilt my Templar archives, and he like stopped paying attention to his army, but then like I was already so far dead it didn't matter. The second game I just like messed up and didn't get the Reaper before it got in my base, so he knew something was up and he prepared, and then it was all just fumbling from there. And I tried to transition into my normal build, but I forgot to upgrade charge, and so all my zealots kind of sucked.
Yeah, certainly. We noticed that you just didn't quite have enough. You made a decision not to attack with that 4 gateway, then went for the expansion, which he scanned and then kind of knew something was up, and it was able to just kind of wait you out. That third map was really great, though, and I was impressed by how quickly you got those High Templar out. Once you saw that he was in that cross position of Shakuras, did you just know that you could go for that build and be a bit more successful? You'd be ready for it when he pushed in with his first bio?
Well, I mean, no matter what position you get, if you spawn top right or bottom left on that map, the rush distances are really long. So I just decided when I saw my spawn to go for DTs and try to get map control and expand with that. And then, like, as in every friggin' game of the series, his Reaper saw exactly what I was doing. So when I scouted with my Stalker and saw that he had a turret built at his expansion, I immediately canceled the Dark Shrine and took a gigantic risk of, basically there's 2 responses, right? There's either you do a timing push with scans or you wait for a Raven, and I gambled on waiting for a Raven, so I just teched behind 3 Zealots to like charge and High Templar and +1/+1 with +2 on the way. And then my Storm got out by the time he got his Raven to my base, and so that was pretty much game.
So you seem to be very, very successful with that Zealot and High Templar combination. Will you ever build a Stalker again?
Well, you kind of have to build Stalkers to take care of medevac drops, but I don't like Stalkers. They're really bad. They scale horribly, and they're really expensive and fragile, and et cetera, et cetera.
Hey, they beat a Hydra.
I'm not sure about that, actually, but that's a topic for another discussion. Well, thanks, guys, for coming in. I think we're going to try to filter in our next set of players, but great series.
Yeah, good games, man.
Right.
You're a much better player. Congrats.
You guys, before you guys get out of here, do you guys just want to give some final shout-outs? We'll start with the 2-1 winner, Nadagast.
Shout out to Nerd Stomper and Angela. And Ryan, playing next. Go Ryan. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. More on that in just a second. Jaeger, your shout-outs for the night, man.
Shout out to Torch. just to be a contrarian.
Whoa.
There you go.
There we go. H2O
No.
Viking.
Now, Torch is who Jaeger is going to be playing tomorrow. And actually, let's get a little bit of hype in for that matchup. Jaeger, can you tell me what you told me before of your memories of playing Torch in Team Fortress 2?
He was the best player on H2O, which is not very meaningful, I guess.
Nope, I was on that team, so that doesn't really mean that much. So.
All right, well that's all right. You know, if trash talking's not in your nature, I won't force it upon you. So we're gonna take
appearances for my team. Crack cramming complexity. Wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah, definitely. Now, thanks so much once again to our players for tonight. We'll be seeing you guys definitely tomorrow night. As mentioned, it's going to be Jaeger versus Torch and Nadagast versus Sickness, brother versus brother, which should be very exciting. Yes.
Table.
Shout out to Torch in the stream chat. What's up, Trevor?
Yeah, we're going to be bringing Trevor in here soon enough. So right now we're going to take a little production break, play some more of Shedder's calming tunes or Euro techno. I'm not sure what he has going right now. Yeah.
Calming Euro techno is what it is, actually.
Right. We call that the slow fist bump.
Terrible.
Anyways, play us out, Shedder, and we'll be back here as soon as we can with our other players.
All right, you're watching the Starcraft Showdown on TGBF. We'll be right back with our second matchup of the evening, Sickness versus Torch, in just a little bit. So don't go anywhere. You're watching TGBF.